Yes, sir. Now this. More than 22 million government workers had their private information stolen. That would be social security numbers, fingerprints, stuff like that. Hacked, China believed to be behind it. Let's bring in former National Security Council member and Fox News contributor Gillian Turner. Gillian, you were hacked. You're a former government employee. You were hacked. Can you tell us what have you done about your information, about your situation since you found out that you've been hacked?
Well, most of the people, or at least the first round of the 4 million people that were victims of this attack, received notification as of a couple of weeks ago from the White House Office of Personnel Management. What we were given as compensation is a year of identity theft protection as well as insurance coverage in the event of an identity theft incident. And so beyond that, there's not a lot we can do right now aside from monitor the situation very closely, unfortunately.
Yeah, because your fingerprints are your fingerprints. Your social security number is your social security number. You can't change those. It's not like a password that you can change. So you're really stuck. There is not much you can do.
You know, there's grave cause for concern amongst the victims of this attack, including myself, because the information the Chinese got access to is not limited to basic personal information like birth dates, social security numbers, addresses, and criminal and medical histories. As if that wasn't bad enough, they've actually got access to a treasure trove of information that's far more personal and intimate.
You were on the National Security Council at one time.
Yep, that's right. And the people like myself who were staffers of the National Security Council all had top secret security clearances, which were accompanied by a whole host of information that we handed over willingly to the government. And so the point here is that launching a forensic investigation to figure out what happened is great, and that's what OPM has done. But the buck can't stop there. There has to be reform. You know, the government can't expect that you hand over this type of information and they have no way of promising to keep it confidential.
Do you worry about blackmail? And that's a very difficult question to ask, but do you worry about it for yourself and maybe colleagues too?
Absolutely. You know, imagine for a moment that the Chinese now have access to notes taken by FBI caseworkers as they interviewed not only your immediate family and friends, but your past employers, your past colleagues, possibly disgruntled exes, former friends, people you don't even remember having contact with in the past. And the magnitude of this hack starts to sink in a little bit, and that's exactly what they've got.
Would you favor a retaliatory attack?
That's an interesting question. I don't think that that would be, that's something that has to be considered once we've determined with sort of 100% certainty that it was or was not a Chinese government attack. I think all signs point to yes right now, but it really depends on what kind of an entity perpetrated the attack. If it is a government entity, I don't think that there's a lot to be said for the idea that perpetrating a counterattack would help the situation. Unfortunately, I think we'd be inviting a sort of counterattack, so it's difficult.
Gillian, thank you very much for being with us and addressing a very difficult situation. We do appreciate it.